Hey there everyone, Carlos here with the introduction to one of his now recently published books. Its name is Gemini's Numerology, How to Write Your Novel. And hopefully by doing these videos, the videos will pick your interest so that you take these videos as a sample before buying his book, or rather my book. So here, some may wonder why this book is the first one he wrote. Here is my answer. After trying to write Gemini's saga, I quickly realized that characters need names. Instead of letting serendipity decide their names for him by randomly mashing the keyboard, I would take notes from a numerology book. After numerous notes and having difficulty visualizing the series Gemini's saga, I figured it would be a good idea to lean on my somewhat scientific background and write a slightly more factual book. This is what inspired me to write Gemini's Numerology, How to Write Your Novel. For further clarification, my rising and Jupiter signs are Gemini, plus my sun is in Pisces. Those of you good at math are welcome to approach me at astrologytarot.com, or rather on Quora, where my name will be included, or rather contact information will be included in the description to this video. When you do this, if you can guess my date of birth, then you get a 50% discount off of the book. This will only last for the first 100 clients. As a result of my sun in Pisces, I have an interest in spiritual matters. This also means it is a great idea to just feel the spirits of the numbers in numerology. This way you will learn how to interact with your characters too. Imagine, if you will, each name you consider giving to your character, or hopefully in the near future, Carlos will have his plugin working on the website. This will allow you to pick and choose the 3 spirits you want to interact with your character. Basically, it will allow you to reverse engineer his or her name. Yeah, in the meantime, here's how to perform the math that reveals the spirits. The first technique is what he calls the name chart. Now visualize a 3x3 grid. In this grid, which is organized in a very different manner than the one you would see on your telephone. Basically, the bottom left-hand corner is the number 1. And that same column on the left is 2 and then 3. So going from top to bottom, it would be 3, 2, 1. And then the middle from top to bottom would be 6, 5, 4. And on the right, we go from 9, 8, 7. And you will see why in just a moment. As you can see, this grid organizes the letters in a name. The organization is quite a bit different than what you normally see on your phone. Yet there is a certain logic to organizing things this way. The first row, which may include AJS, comma, DMV, and GPY, are the physical, proactive, and practical numbers and letters. Basically, that bottom row represents the physical plane, which makes sense because the physical plane is the heaviest of the 3 planes and therefore ought to be at the bottom. Earth is much heavier than spirit and mind. It is tangible. Heavy things stabilize when placed on the bottom shelf. Then on the second shelf, there are the emotionally spiritual numbers and letters. The far left cell contains the letters J, K, T. In the middle are E, N, W. And on the right are H, K, Z. Then on the top shelf, where the head resides, are the mental numbers and letters. On the left is CLU, in the middle is FOX, and on the right are R and I. In regards to pronouns, he has adopted a similar strategy as with astrology. In astrology, the fire and air signs are strong through action. This is especially true for fire, whereas air is a mix of both because he is also strong as he plans, yet he is pretty pathetic unless he executes his plans. Then there are the two feminine elements, water and earth. They are both strong through inner reserves. In numerology, the odd numbers seem stronger through action, whereas the even numbers are strong through inner reserves. To complicate things further, the outer expression is clearly visible, which means he uses he for them. Plus he uses he to describe the full name spirit. Lastly, when describing the soul's urge, he uses she. The soul's urge, SU for short, focuses on the vowels in a name. The heart and soul of a word is captured by the vowels. Just pronounce each letter. Did you notice how you include a vowel regardless of whether the letter is a vowel or consonant? T becomes T, H becomes EH, S may be the only consonant that continues without a vowel. Given this, she may resonate more heavily with a solitary one. Each character has wants and needs. The SU symbolizes this aspect of them. It is also the most subtle because just like the shelf, it is surrounded by pretty much everything. Emotions charge our words, yet we rarely just come out and label our emotions. We only hear whispers of them in people's tones. To calculate Carlos's SU, there is a list of vowels. They are A, O, E, and E. Because Carlos's last name is Perez, which contains two E's along with the A and O for Carlos. From the table above, their respective values are 1, 6, 5, and 5. Their total is 17. Unless the two digits are the same, one needs to reduce it, which means 1, 7, and the 17 are each their own digit, are added up to form the total of 8, because 1 plus 7 is 8. 8, hinted at earlier, is an emotional number. Next is the outer expression. I describe how Carlos behaves in his everyday life as well as how he writes this very book. It is based purely on the consonants. CRLS for Carlos, PRZ for Perez. Their values are 3, 9, 3, 1, 7, 9, 8. This total reveals the spirit of his pen name, 40. As usual, reduce it down to a single digit, 4. This is a physical number. Just like full name suggests, it is all the letters in all of his names. Merely add the SU and OE to arrive at it. 4 plus 8 is 12. This reduces to 3. 3 is a mental number. The FN usually determines a character's job. However, the OE and SU heavily influence it too. To complete the example, 3 is an impressionable, intellectual weaver. Then 4 is a passively aggressive builder, whereas 8 is an emotionally shelled charmer. One of the things he quotes from says, when a 3 talks, people listen. Hopefully this is true for this would-be author as well. Having money to pay for rent is nice. However, the main goal of this book is to get you comfortable enough to sit down, come up with a list of names, and just write. This author's beliefs are extensive, yet in the scope of this book there are only a handful he will weave into it. He hates trolls. He hates those who rob others of their voice. He believes fiercely that all voices ought to be heard unless and forgets this somewhat puny quote, "Who died and made them Darth Vader?" By writing books, one finds his, her voice. He includes the last two because there are those who appear to be one gender, but are actually both. Another point, or should I say points of interest, are the arrows. There are 8 arrows of strength and 8 arrows of weakness. The ones of strength are the arrow pointing left, up, diagonally down to the right, diagonally up to the right. As you notice, 3 of them point to the right. Then the second one points up. This symbolizes how they uplift, whereas the arrows of weakness point in the opposite directions. So the first one points to the left, the next one points down, the third one points to the upper left, and the fourth one points to the lower left. More on this in chapter 10. In summary, and this will be explained in great detail in the upcoming chapters, it is useful to visualize the spirits of the numbers. If one does this, a useful hack is visualizing a 3-story house. Much like the grid shown earlier, the SU has her room in the heart of the house. She is the final arbiter of how the floor appears. Then there is the outer expression. This may seem like the top floor of the house makes sense for him, yet due to his gregarious nature, Carlos puts this on the entrance floor. This way he is the entertainer of the house's guest. Of course this means that FN is on the top floor. All 3 spirits interact with each other. And that interaction is purely inside the book, and I probably won't even introduce those interactions within these videos. At times, the FN gets the final say. At other times, the most dominant number does. Each one has his and her role to play as you write your novel. Much of this book, it leaves much up to your imagination. This way it is truly you writing the book. However, this approach leaves you wanting in the near future. Carlos will include actual character descriptions and art on his website. In the meantime, just have fun as you write about your characters. When you have fun doing something, you keep on doing it. Before you know it, the world will learn how to revel in the spirit you and your book novel brings into the world. When this happens, even if poor Carlos lives on the streets because he managed to gamble all his money away, you will feel at peace knowing that even one person has found their voice. Thank you for listening to this video. If you enjoyed it, please upvote and subscribe, or even better, buy the book. I very much look forward to reading your comments, and even more so, to listening to the sound of your voice. Thank you. And may you find all of your talents as a result of a better understanding of numerology. Thank you.